let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
What's it like being an uncle now?
It's fun. I've seen her like quite a bit, not as much as I maybe like to, but never really had anyone younger than me in like the family. Obviously, because I've been the youngest of 3 boys, and just never really had a person younger than me. So I really like it's cool spending time with them. It's cool to see my brother step up as a father and be not that I think he would be a bad father at all, but I think he never would see him in like a mature role like that. So it's cool to see him like that. Yeah.
It is weird. It is weird to see people that like your brother or your cousin or whoever, like someone that you've always kind of goofed around with, whatever, and all of a sudden now they have all this responsibility, right?
And they turn into that adult that you never think that they would like turn into. So obviously, not that I would never think my brother would be that person, but it's weird to see him like that, but it's also really cool and awesome to see him like that as well.
It is funny that as you get older, you start to turn into your parents,
and
you start saying things that you never thought you would ever say. And you're like, oh my god, it's like it comes out naturally, and it's like this is the go-to word or statement to no, you can't do that. I know I say it all the time. It's just there's so many cliches that you say as a dad. I can't speak for the moms. I'm sure they're probably all in the same boat, but
Well, I was at work the other day, and I just saw Devin's grandma, she goes by Gran, and I haven't had many interactions with her, but I actually had a really nice talk with her, and I was saying things like, oh, I'm really proud of my brother, I'm really proud of him, he's doing really well, like things like you said, like I would never imagine saying about my brother.
Yeah, you're older now, you're more mature. It's not like you're 10 going, screw him.
Yeah, it's not like I'm 10 and he's the guy I'm running away from after I just slapped him or something.
Well,
yeah, it's really cool.
You guys came here to talk sports, so
we
may as well just go ahead and dive right in, I guess. Yeah. Blue Jays, before we get into them, the umping. I don't know if it's been just this season or if it's just been highlighted way more, but it's been horrendous.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's really kicked off this year, I think. I think just because the rule changes kind of have made people really not pissed off, but kind of like there's so many rule changes now, and no one really knows exactly what's what anymore, and they're just like they're not sure about this. They're not sure, should there be robot umpires? Should there be regular umpires, like human umpires? But I think personally, in the next 5 years, it's going to be robots because it's just getting out of hand.
Yeah,
and they've already started doing it in AAA. And AA.
Teams get 3 challenges per game, and
I
was at a AAA game about a month or so ago, and you just notice that there's a drastic difference because like it was just like almost teams were strategizing when to use challenges and when not to use challenges. Mm-hmm. Like there was a pitch that I thought was a ball, and I think the player thought it was a ball, and he looked to the bench, and the manager just shook his head no. But in the 7th inning, there was a pitch that maybe it was in the same spot or more borderline, and they challenged it right away. So teams are saving for later in games to get those base runners, to get those extra strikeouts. It's just like with those robot umps, I think like it would add a cool element to the major leagues.
Mm. And robot umpire, it's not a huge robotic like machine behind the catcher. It's a human umpire, but they have a piece in their ear, and they make a call. I watched one video. It was the Yankees prospect at the plate, and he had he had full count, sorry, and there was a pitch that came in that got called strike 3, and he threw his hand up, and throwing your hand up means like you want to challenge it, but every batter has one of those in their at bat. I'm pretty sure that's what the rule was.
I think it was at first, but then they changed it to 3 challenges per game.
Yeah,
is why I found out.
At the start, for sure, it was every batter had their own, like they had 1 challenge per at bat. So his challenge got like overturned. It was a strike 3, but then it became ball 4, and then I think that's perfect because it went up on the big screen of where the pitch actually was on the pitch comm like that they use on the MLB that we see all the time, and it showed that the ball was 2 inches high, so then he got the ball 4, and I think that's perfectly how it should be done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Umpires have far too much power, I think, in the game, in any sport, if you ask me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem at all with the batter's box being completely computerized. It takes the element of having those mistakes taken away, especially if I don't want to say that umps are trying to influence the game, because it seems like it's pretty, well, not always, but it seems like it's quite often even from 10 bad calls in an inning for one team and 10 bad calls in an inning for the other team. So it's not like it's favoring one team or another. It's just these calls are just horrendous. Like a full foot outside the box and they're calling a strike. Like,
With that point you made, would you argue that VAR is almost the wrong thing to have then in soccer? Because if they're taking away any imperfections from the referees by using VAR, but then having computerized umpires is like basically a VAR.
Yeah.
well, again, there's only certain aspects of the game that VAR actually is used for.
Yeah,
That's true.
And your dad and I have very vast different opinions on this. I think it should be way more. And I know there's a lot of people that think that umps making a mistake gives a game something. I'm not sure what it is that they're looking for, but the ump is supposed to be there to make sure that all the rules are followed.
Yeah.
And they're there to make sure that everyone's following the rules. If you're giving them too much leeway to establish their own opinion about what something should be, and which is where we've kind of gone with soccer, I find that takes away from the players and their abilities and what they can do. I don't know. I think they need to do more. Not all, but they need to do more with a computerized system that gives you a black and white, yes or no, the same thing for both teams.
Yeah.
There's no favoring one side or another. So,
See, I personally think the only reasons umpires are still as involved in the game today as they have always been is because people like the familiarity of like having a referee or having an umpire and like being part of the game essentially. When I think like in reality they are gonna eventually go, and I think more people are gonna like baseball less because it's like perfect now, and no one wants it to be perfect.
why wouldn't you want it to be perfect?
Why wouldn't I want it to be perfect?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want every call to be based on what the athlete's ability is or isn't?
Because I don't know, it's almost something with, I mean, again, if we're comparing to VAR, it's the same type of thing. Like, as much as there's technology behind it, it's still humans making the decisions. So I really don't know, because with the decision of, using computer umpires, it's still humans making, like, even now, they still use technology to figure out, like, is he out? Is he safe? Things like that. Is it a home run? Is it not? It's still computers doing it, but it's also humans making a decision. Like, when they go to New York, they're using, like, all these technologies, like mathematic, like equations from technology that helps them, like, figure out, did the base hit, like, the person at the base before the glove went, like, there's all sorts of that. But, like, I really don't know if they will 100% do robotic umpires, but it definitely takes away the authenticity of the game if they do.
See, that's the part that I don't get, because there seems to be a lot of people that do feel that.
Yep.
But why?
That do feel what I was
Yeah,
saying.
like why do you want to watch it and go, he's safe, even though the umpire calls him out, and you're sitting there going, he's safe. You take again, if you're just watching a game that you have nothing invested in, maybe you don't care. But when it's your team, and you just watched Snyder slide in and he's safe, calls him out, that's the part of the game you want to keep in. That, like, the umps aren't supposed to be the same as the players. The players are supposed to be there giving their full out. If they make a mistake, they make a mistake. The ump is there to say you made a mistake, not to make that judgment call of we'll let it go, which seems to happen a lot.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a topic that you could talk about for hours, because everyone's got their own opinion on it or whatever. But
For sure.
I personally don't know where the MLB is going to be in 5 years.
I personally think, if anything, it's just going to be like what they do in AAA, just bringing that strike zone where players can challenge, and that's as far as they'll go. I think they'll keep the umpires, like, still making calls out or safe and still going to New York for reviews, but I personally think they just bring in the strike zone check.
Hopefully it's developed, and, like, it's developed more in a few years, but, like, they're just using like AAA, AA, single A are all being used as like they're guinea pigs right now. They're just trying to like practice it, see how it works, see other players are liking it, coaches are liking it. It seems to be all right. I haven't heard much.
Yeah,
Does it slow the game down?
So when that's like how Kieran went to that. Like each player gets a pitch per at bat. They did have that originally, but that made the game slower, and they want to speed up the game in the MLB, so they decided to go 3 challenges per team. And if you get it right, you retain your challenge. So I don't think it necessarily affects the time of the game too much. Obviously, it's like a replay, though. Like, if it's out or safe, it's going to take a second to check. But I don't think it's too bad for the course of the game and how the game's paces.
It's going to be interesting to see how they do it because their goal right now is to stop games from being quote-unquote boring and being 3.5 hours long. Like, I saw the fastest game last year was an hour 52 minutes, something like that. And the average was like 2 hours 11 minutes. That's where they want it. But if you introduce an umpiring system where game's going to get stopped, it's going to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes longer than they want, they're probably going to have to figure out a more efficient way to do that. Because then what's the point of making all these rule changes for the time stop to then add, like pitch clock, like that's an example. That's just quick in the game. But then if you add...
Now something like that to me that's what's taken away from the game as opposed to the umps. Like, so the batter comes up and he's 1 second longer and all of a sudden he gets a strike.
Yeah.
Because he's 1 second, he's taking 9 seconds instead of 8, I think it is that he gets, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But at least it's even. At least both teams have the same, like, they don't, like,
sure.
Not one team has 15 seconds, the other has 20. Like, at least it's even.
No, but you're taking away that, so the guy at the batter's box who's always taking 10 seconds, now he's going to speed everything up because of a clock.
It does seem very, very rushed. Like, we go to games all the time, and I remember the first game we went to that the rule was implemented, it just seemed like they were basically trying to get the game over with from the start, and I didn't like it. But then I've gotten used to it. Like, that was the first year they started, it was with a runner on base, it was 20 seconds, I believe, right? Like, the pitcher has 20 seconds, throw a pitch with a runner on. Now it's 18, and that's 15 with no runners on base. So it just, I have mixed feelings about it. It's making the games quicker and arguably better to watch, but I mean, it's also just like they just want to get the game over with. So I'm a little at a crossroads a bit.
In between on it.
Interesting. It's funny listening to people's different views. Like you just said, like you're all on board for not having electronic umpires.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's really, like, honestly, I'm not sure because there's pros and cons for both sides, and I really honestly don't know what side I'm on, but I'm able to see both sides, and it's interesting, but like...
So what do you think about VAR then?
I actually really like VAR. What I don't like is the clear and obvious, what's the word? Like when teams, there's like Man United, Man City, Arsenal, they all seem to get more chances at VAR, like more chances of a penalty than other teams. Like Villa barely ever get any VAR chances.
Crystal Palace
Wolves. Never do. It just seems to be like, especially a few years ago, Man United they must have had a penalty go to VAR, whether they won it or not, every single game of the season. They must have. Like 3 years ago. I remember because it was the year that Bruno Fernandes, I think he scored in almost every game because they had a penalty. Like he had a lot of penalties that one season, and that's why everyone called them it was Manchester VAR United or something like that.
It was VAR United.
VAR United, something like that. Yeah. Or Liverpool.
Yeah. But VAR can only be used at certain points, depending on what it is. So I do find a lot of the time, so if it's just outside the box, VAR can't do anything.
Right.
But people say, well, it's right there, just why can't VAR? So is he actually, like, has someone actually come up with a stat saying that they get calls inside the VAR and other teams don't, or is it just that's what people seem to think?
Oh, that's just my personal thought. But I thought it like pretty significantly that was what was happening, and that's why there was the talk about like VAR United and all that.
You're just a Villa fan. You always think that.
That is true. No, I did have a question. I don't know if you know it, but I was watching one of the Euro games. It wasn't the England semifinal, but it was might have been the Spain-France game where it was the Spain-France game because it was the Cucurella handball in the box, and it was a clear and obvious penalty to me, like 100%.
Oh yeah, that was
and
a
it
joke.
didn't even go to VAR.
Yeah.
So who's in charge of a call going to VAR? Is it a coach's challenge? Is it a referee? Like, is it the referee's decision?
Are you talking about the ball? His hand was out and he brought it in and hit the ball?
It was in a completely unnatural position, and one of the French players struck it, and it like hit directly his hand. And he was in the box, and it was a clear-cut penalty, but
I remember
it didn't
that.
even go to
If
VAR.
it
Should have been.
If it's the one that I'm thinking of, it did go to VAR and they cleared it. You're talking about the one his hands were out like this, and he kicked the ball and he brought his hands in, and that's when it hit his hand straight on.
Maybe. I don't know. I just know it was a strike, and he kind of leaned away, and it hit his hand.
Yeah, I'm pretty
did?
sure that's the one. It went to VAR and they went ahead and said no as well.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
It's maybe because it didn't, like, that big thing in the bottom corner didn't show up, and didn't, like, show the replay or any of it. I remember they came back to it a few times, and they were like, oh, this should have been a penalty, and it didn't even get looked at or something. I saw a review. But
1,000% it should have been a penalty. Even if you use like the old term with the hand to ball, ball to hand, he had his hand out.
Yeah.
And he saw the ball coming towards him, and he turns away, but he brings his hand in and puts it in direct line of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
He should have just left his arm out then.
And just while we're on it, do you think that Kane penalty the other day was a pen?
I do.
I do too.
I think it was a penalty.
I just had this conversation with Allison yesterday because she didn't think it was. I'm like,
Yeah.
of course it was. If that was anywhere else on the pitch and someone stuck their
It's a
cleats
foul.
up and you kick the ball and he got it and your foot goes into the other guy's cleats, they're getting a yellow because it was dangerous.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Or if not a red.
Yeah.
So to me, that was 1,000% a pen.
I agree. And I was just listening to it's called The Rest is Football. It's the Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer podcast, and they all thought it was never in a million years a penalty. And I was like, their argument was that it was Kane's follow through that got hit. Therefore, it's not a penalty because Dumfries' foot didn't hit him until after he hit the ball. But
That is true.
but also like your point said, like, if you're in the middle of the field and you kick a ball away and then someone hits you, it's still a foul.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
a yellow card.
If someone comes in and if you get the ball off and someone comes in and slide tackles you from the side, a dangerous challenge, they still get a yellow, if not a red.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
understand their logic then for saying that. Well, he had already gotten the ball off. That means nothing. Again, his boots were up.
Oh yeah,
Open-
that's what I was
open
gonna say.
boot,
I was under
open
the
boot.
impression any studs up challenge is an automatic red.
Yeah.
So I was even shocked they gave him a yellow.
Studs up, and it was waist height, and that's
Very
the
dangerous.
argument of high foot. So if it wasn't a foul, it was high foot. So I don't know.
Shearer and Lineker, what do they know? They never made it anywhere, right?
No, I was actually very surprised that they didn't think it was a penalty, especially the bias, but also like just in their day, maybe it wasn't a foul, but like
Yeah, the rules have
nowadays with the
changed.
technology you have,
I don't know. I mean, trust me, I'm not a Kane fan.
no, not in mine.
This is what he does all the time. Well, this isn't. He normally just takes an easy down. I mean, when he won Golden Boot, was it 4 to 5 or pens from
Oh
going
yeah,
down soft in the box? Like,
that was the last Euros, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
last Euros, Worlds, whatever. Anytime he's got an English shirt on, I don't know what he's like in Germany. I know he's got
He had a,
Well, he scored
trophies.
I was gonna say he had a
boatload of
fantastic
goals in
year for
Germany.
Bayern.
he's lots of goals, but no trophies, no silverware, no nothing. The one year in the last 20 years that they haven't won a single thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Kane. Good job.
Yeah, there's a bunch of memes about him going to France and then like Leipzig turning, or not Leipzig, the one good French, like one all right French team turning into like prime Brazil. It's so funny.
What's today? Today's Friday. Sunday, England plays.
Yeah.
What do you think their chances are against Spain?
I don't know. Spain looked really good.
You think so?
Really good.
I think I don't think any team in this Euro has looked stellar by any means. Everyone said, "Oh, Germany." Everyone said France. Like France got through on what?
I think they had 1 goal or 2 goals or something.
Well, 2 of them were own goals and one was a penalty kick. Like,
yeah.
Like that's one of your top teams. Like I liked watching Turkey and Georgia play better than anybody else.
Oh, that was
a great game. Yeah,
game of the tournament. I said the second after that game ended, it was the game of the tournament, and something would have to blow it away to be better than that. It was a great game.
Yeah,
that one was awesome.
The worst game was Spain and Italy. The first 19 minutes, there was 15 people on the ground rolling around.
That was a 0-0 finish, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that had 0-0 all over it.
I wasn't even watching after that first 20 minutes. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore.
And I mean, the first few England games were rough to watch, too.
Yeah,
they were.
I turned it off after the first half every time.
Yeah. I honestly think the Denmark game, I fell asleep for half an hour. It was just like, oh my goodness.
Well, I knew England was getting through, so I kind of just said to myself, what's the point of watching?
Yeah.
Like, England will find a way to score in the 85th minute like they've been doing this tournament.
Yeah, they're just grinding them out, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if Justin Koshu is listening to this, he loves Bellingham, but I mean, I'm going to stick by my Bellingham. I don't get, like, he's good. He's a good player, and I get he's young, but he shouldn't be the top of the England hierarchy as he's held right now. Like, he's a good player who's strong, but he also, 1, whines too much, 2, dives too much, and 3, he's just not that incredible.
I thought he was a ghost against Netherlands.
Absolutely,
I
was.
didn't really notice him.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't have scored, or if he wouldn't have scored that,
Sorry, could you pick somebody else that wasn't a ghost during that match on the England side, though?
I didn't think Foden had a bad game.
Foden I think he's only had 1 or 2 games this entire tournament. He was non-existent at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Foden turned it on that first half, but second half, like, he should have definitely came off in the Netherlands game.
He did.
No, I'm saying he definitely should have.
Palmer.
Like, he for sure should have came off.
I wonder how England would start out if they didn't have Kane.
I think it'd be Watkins. I think it'd be the same formation, but then you have Watkins in there.
I think Tony personally would go up top.
Either one of them, I think, would be better than Kane. I think they should just sit Kane.
Yeah.
At least Watkins, he actually toes the line, and he's ready for that run.
Yeah.
Whereas you look where Kane sits back, he's basically a central defender.
Or even
literally.
Even Bellingham, he for Real, he started at striker last season. So maybe Bellingham goes to striker, and then I don't know, you throw maybe Foden in the cam position, and then bring Palmer on that right hand side. I think it'd work perfect.
I also think they should start Luke Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think
I
so
agree.
too.
Well.
I agree.
Trippier doesn't. He looks so, and I get he doesn't play left back, but he looks so out of position in left.
He doesn't have the legs for 90 minutes, anyways.
No, he does, and that's why he's come off every.
I'm not sure Shaw does either, but at least if you gave him the first 60.
Yeah,
Shaw looked pretty good. I don't know. Yeah. He looked pretty damn good in that last 45. But
that's the thing. It's only 45. I wonder how he'd be after 70 minutes of just jogging it at the back, right?
He has just come back from an injury.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm not saying anything other than I just don't think he has the legs for a full 90.
Well, in the 2020 Euro, he was probably one of England's top 5 best players. I think for sure.
I thought
he was full form then.
I thought he was England's best player.
Yeah, I mean he is 3 years older now, but full form Luke Shaw, I really really liked him, and I quote my dad to this day that he said Luke Shaw was the worst player to ever wear a United shirt.
I've always liked him right from day one. Like, I went and got a Luke Shaw shirt like within like the first 6 months of playing. I thought he was great.
He's good. And where was he before?
Southampton.
He was incredible. And did he break his leg in Southampton?
It was United, I think.
United.
Oh, okay.
It was like first 6 months.
Snapped it in like 2 spots, I think.
Yeah, right.
Gruesome.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then when he finally did come back, Mourinho just kept calling him fat. So
well,
hard to recover.
Yeah. Very hard. Well, when you break your leg, what can you do?
Did you?
You're not going for runs.
Did you see that video of Tyrone Mings doing his recovery?
No,
after his MCL. If you looked at his one leg, it looked like a tree trunk. His other one looked like a toothpick. It was insane how much.
Yeah,
just
that's pretty normal for any.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a big, massive cast on it, but I know anyone in the past, like after they those 6-7 weeks to take the cast off. You're like, whoa.
I couldn't imagine what Shaw's would have looked like after
Yeah.
breaking 2 spots.
Well, Mings has actually done a really good job at building that muscle back, and he looks incredible now. I think he'll be back start-ish of the next season. It's just whether or not he gets that spot back at center back. I hope so.
A lot of competition.
Yeah, he's I used to think he was good, and then when he finally made it to the Three Lions, all of a sudden it got to his head, and he sucked.
Yeah.
He thought he was the man, I guess, and just I don't know.
Yeah.
He was making these stupid decisions that when you can't when you're back there, you're the last man standing, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. I understand why he like kind of took his foot off the gas. Maybe not really. Like he was still playing well, but like not nearly as well as he was before his England call up. He just acted like he was the cat's ass after he got called up for that team, and I think that hurt him.
Starting for England at 23 probably does.
Yeah.
Does some things to you mentally.
Well, I mean,
Like you think like what I mean though, not in a bad way, but he definitely thought he was one of the best center backs in the world, which he wasn't.
Yeah, and I mean, he just I don't even know. He's a good player. He just really I think he struggles with like having immense confidence and cockiness almost, that it ruined his game. Not ruined, but like it hurt his game quite a bit at Villa because he struggled for a while.
Yeah.
His decision making is terrible.
I just hope he's back to normal when he comes back.
So Spain's 16-year-old superstar, where's he from?
Where's he from? Like what city?
What club?
Oh, what club? Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona.
Yeah.
So do you think he's going to be running the paces through the defense, or?
I think Trippier's gonna have a tough time with him on that left-hand side.
Yeah. I personally think they'll flip Walker to left back.
That's what I was wondering too.
Yeah.
Just because his immense speed, he should be able to handle anybody.
Yeah. Problem is though with Nick, like the
He's quick
the winger
as
on the
well.
other side, Nico Williams.
Yeah.
He's probably just as quick as Yamal. So
That's the problem.
I don't know what, because I don't know how fast Luke Shaw is. I don't think he's that. He's not that fast.
Especially he's not 100%.
And-
He won't be as fast.
He
Trent
never
Alexander.
had crazy speed anyway.
Yeah.
No.
And Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's
Can't really defend.
he can't. He's not a great defender. I don't think he would be like he wouldn't be as fast as Williams or Yamal, but I don't think he like wouldn't be able to keep up. But his main forte, I guess, is offensively playing that long ball. Like he wouldn't necessarily worry about Williams and Yamal as much as you probably need those fullbacks to worry about them.
I'm interested to see how Southgate does it because honestly, I don't know who's quicker, Williams or Yamal. They're both lightning fast. So Walker's lightning fast, so he's got one of them, I would assume. Like he'll hopefully lock up one of them, but it's a matter of who has the other one. And Trippier's not fast at all.
No.
So he won't go on the right.
Yeah, this is gonna sound bad, but they've been talking about moving Saka to left back. Saka could keep up. I don't think he has the defensive ability,
No,
but he could
I'd
keep
say-
up. I don't think.
I
I think that's just English media though, just saying things to say things. I don't think you should play Saka at that position because
I don't think
he's
so
too
either.
good going forward. But
Yeah, I don't think they'll make that change. I think they'll, if anything, they would get either Trippier or Shaw, whoever's there, to sit further back, give him the space, but don't let him get in behind you. Maybe.
yeah,
It's interesting. I'm a little worried just about those two on the right. Like everyone's talking about Danny Olmo.
I'm
Like,
not worried about Daniel
he's-
Olmo.
He's been a good player in the past, but like he scored that one really nice goal, but like he's not a crazy talent. The only reason he's in the team is because Pedri got hurt. He was a bench player for Spain, and Spain's bench is not that good.
No,
It's really
it's
not.
a depleted bench.
And then it's the only reason they've been really good, I think, is Rodri and Fabian Ruiz. They've held it in the middle, and obviously the two wingers, and then Morata usually hasn't been great, but he usually turns it on for Spain. So it's their defense that I think is the weak part, and I think that's why it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Because England's attack is incredible, and when you got how old's Nacho Fernandez, like 33? He's older.
I think he's 31.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's not
like
fast.
he's old for a soccer player.
He's not fast. And then they have Danny Carvajal. he's really. Me and my dad were in the car. We were listening to this one talk show, and they were saying Carvajal's gone on like a straight chicken and broccoli diet, and he said he's felt like the best and the youngest he's ever felt in his career, and it showed. He's really played well in both club and.
So instead of being 41, he now feels like he's 39.
Yeah,
exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah. And actually, Danny Carvajal is not as old as you think. He looks like he could be about pushing 50, but he's actually only 32.
Oh, yeah?
And, I mean, that's pretty old for a footballer,
yeah.
but, I mean, he looks good. And even Cucurella, he gets a lot of hate, but, I mean, he's still a decent player. He's not the standout player on the team, but he's still decent.
What's the matter with Grimaldo? Why isn't he at left back right now?
I really don't know. He had a great season at Bayern or Leverkusen.
Yeah, I think he had 20 goal assist contributions from left back. So I don't see why he doesn't start, but maybe just because that's what Spain's played for so long.
Yeah, and it's their coach too. He's clearly got something on his, clearly got a idea in his head that has obviously succeeded. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm already really nervous for Sunday. I really hope it's a close game. I hope Spain don't get an early lead and then like blow up and score 3 or something like that. That's what I'm worried about. But
I don't know. I feel like getting an early goal is like death to a team.
yeah,
believe
there's been a
so,
few
too.
examples of it.
I hope.
I mean, it happens to England all the time. Every time they get an early goal, they
I was
end up
gonna-
losing. So.
I was gonna say, I hope. To be honest, I'd rather we concede first because after
Yeah.
we conceded first against another ones, we actually saw England play their best 15, 20 minutes of football. They were pushing,
Yeah, 'cause
shooting from all angles.
They always do the
chances.
same thing. It's that they sit back, they're afraid to make any mistakes, and then all of a sudden they've made a mistake. They're now down a goal.
Yeah.
And then you see what they can actually do. They start pushing forward. If they would just take that initiative and start pushing forward right off the hop,
Right.
but
You
And
should
I know-
almost just give them a goal, like this,
Yeah.
count a goal on their
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
just do it 30 seconds in.
Yeah, honestly, they do play better when they're down. I think it's just the freak out factor almost. They just like they're worried they're gonna lose it, but then they equalize and then they sit back. Why? But why wouldn't you think that?
Because it's the same mentality before you
Yeah.
you get scored on is when you level it up, right? Don't make a mistake. Don't fall behind again.
Yeah.
Once you've fallen behind, you're already in a no lose situation.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
to lose. Go
Sorry,
all
no
out.
win situation. Yeah.
But then why wouldn't you want to put yourself in a better opportunity? And I think that's what England has struggled with. They've struggled with putting themselves up early, although they have been up early a few times in the group stage.
And it
But-
was horrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but what every game they've played in the round of 16 on, they've been down a goal, right?
Yeah, I
Because
think
they
so, yeah.
went down 1-0 to Slovakia,
Down
And
to
then-
Switzerland.
down to Switzerland, and then they were down in Netherlands, so they've been down 1 goal every time. So maybe they should just give Spain the first goal or something.
So I know this is every English person's favorite topic is talking about Southgate.
Yeah.
Yay or nay?
I think yay. But I definitely, like any other English fan, I think I went through a little phase where I thought he was an idiot, like, and I had no idea what he was doing. But clearly, and I started, like, at the start, I was like, oh, this is so boring. Southgate ball is so boring. But then I started to listen to some interviews, and all the players trust him. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you're not going to go out and lash out against your own coach to a public audience. But you can definitely tell when players like do and don't trust their own coach, and Saka being one of them. Saka like has a lot of trust in Southgate, and they really like trust this safe. I'm gonna call it safety ball that Southgate plays almost. It's kind of like we are gonna trust the way we play and not try anything different. And I think
I think Bellingham would probably say something. I mean, he was the only
Oh,
person
yeah.
in the German league that was it
said
German league?
German and
But it-
Spanish league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that he went ahead and called out a corrupt ref.
that was
which
German.
the,
Yeah,
which was the last ref that we had, which everyone thought we were screwed.
which I'm glad nothing came out of that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that didn't get that ref didn't hold a grudge on England. But yeah, I really I don't know. I'm nervous.
I like Southgate. I think everyone forgets how boring the last 3 managers were for England. Like you had Sven, you had Hodgson. I always say that the manager that had the best record was Big Sam,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
but he only had 1 game. And so that means he's 100%.
Yeah, you can't argue with it.
Well,
No, but I just like all these videos I see on Instagram, they're like if you put them side by side, like 2 weeks difference. There's one at the start of this tournament saying he's awful, Southgate out, he's terrible. And now they're talking about Southgate being knighted. They're saying he's going to be knighted, yeah.
Plastic fans.
No, like not even just the fans saying, like they were like again in that Rest is Football podcast, Shearer was saying that he thinks without a doubt if England win, Southgate will be knighted. And I think like, whoa, that's a crazy like switch from basically he should be sacked in the middle of the tournament to he should be knighted. And I just think that's insane.
Well, there's a lot of people that are saying that even if he wins, he needs to step down and let someone else take over because he's so boring.
I've heard the same. I think, to be honest, I think if they do win, I think he's stepping down no matter what. But I think if he does win, I think he steps down. Like he'd be like that to step down. I think he'd announce it right away because go out on a high note, and you got England their first Euro. It's the first Euro ever, isn't it?
Yep.
For what?
England.
Yeah, that'd be the first Euro.
This will be
ever.
their first Euro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think if he steps down on a high, that'd be.
I don't
good
think
for
he'll
him.
step down. Win or lose, I don't think he steps down. I think he stays.
Regardless, yeah?
Yeah. I just think because, again, the players trust him, but also, like, the fact that...
Well, the one thing that he does need to start doing is he needs to start making changes when everything starts to look flat. Like, start changing things around the 60th minute. He waits until the 75th, 80th minute, brings on some players, expect them to help because they've gone down a goal, and that's his reaction. Instead of being proactive and trying to jump things up, he waits until they're down, and then you're giving these players 10 or less minutes to try and bring something together. Like, it's come on, like, you got to give these guys some time to work.
Exactly. Like, for those players, it's hard to get into a game. It might take some of them 10, 15 minutes to even get into a game. So if you bring them on the 80th minute, they're not going to be productive.
And I think you can only blame the coach so much. Like, I understand the system is like the system you play in is dictated by the coach, and if it's boring, it's boring, whatever. Like Declan Rice, everyone says he's like boring. Oh, all he does is go left and right, back and forth, 5-meter passes. But like, that's his job. That's what a center defensive mid does.
He's solid.
He's solid. He's a really good player, and a lot of people have hated on him for no reason. He gets a lot of slander for absolutely no reason. He's a center defensive mid. He's not going to be running up the field and striking the ball. Like that's what your baseball 10 or soccer 101 center defensive mid does. Like he's a good player, and I think Southgate ball might be quote unquote boring, but I think that semifinal showed that it's not all Southgate's fault. Like clearly something sparked Foden, and like something in his brain went, okay, I'm gonna do something today, and he played really well in the first half, and that was still within the system that Southgate has. So I think it just shows that it's not all on Southgate.
So do you think it's Southgate's tactics that's holding back the players from doing the things that they normally do for all their other clubs? Because like you said, like Foden, like that little brief window that we saw him play well, that's what he does all the time.
But also, Foden was the center of attention when he played well, and that's what he is at Man City. He's the center of attention. He's the guy that they want to give the ball to at all times. When at England, who's that person? Bellingham, Kane?
I think that's
Foden's third in line on that team.
I think that's England's problem. They have too many superstars. It's like in basketball, you know, when these quote unquote super teams form a team and you see players' production start to diminish, like it's harder for them to get touches, and you can't like see Foden shine as much and Kane shine as much and Bellingham shine as much.
Well, see, that was something that I was going to say about Bellingham, and I guess a little bit Kane too, if he didn't sit so deep. But when the ball's not being brought up and being given to you where you need it to be, it's like they're not recognizing that Bellingham can only do what he can do if he gets the ball in the right spot.
Yeah.
If the ball's being passed up and it's past him, or if it's too far to the right and it just goes right to the defender, there's not a ton that he can do. And that was exactly the problem. Like when Beckham first came to LA Galaxy, he was doing all the things he normally does, but the guys were not there on the other end.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's the reverse of what we're talking about, but it's still the same idea where you still need to have your people put the ball where it needs to be. Don't just keep running around with it, which is another problem that they've been having. They've been getting in way too close to the defender, and then they lose the ball. Yeah. Go ahead and shoot from outside the 18-yard box. They've had success. Yeah. Why not keep doing it? I mean, I'd rather see them pound 10 of those away and miss or get caught by the keeper, then pass, lose the ball. Pass, lose the ball.
Oh, I agree.
Take your
100%.
chances.
Yeah.
And Foden also plays with a formation at City where they have wingers and they have guys that do run down the line, and that has helped them because he's able to receive the ball. When in England, he has to be the one that kind of creates everything, and I think that's why he hasn't really shined. I don't think he's been awful.
No,
he's just kind of been a little more invisible almost because he's just not the one taking the shots or taking the free kicks or anything like that. I think that's why.
Yeah, I think everyone on the team's been pretty invisible.
Yeah.
So again, the whole tournament, like I said before, it's no one's really shined. No one's really put in. I mean, you can say the same thing for Copa America, I guess. I've only seen 3 matches, and it was all Canada. So,
the Copa America, and this might be a hot take, but I think the Copa America has been overall more entertaining to watch.
I'd agree with that for sure.
Like the Euros is better football, but the Copa America has been more entertaining because it's one, quicker. 2, there isn't really, other than Messi, there isn't much like within teams. They don't just give the ball to Messi. Like there's guys that are able to shine. Like different guys get the ball and have a shot to do something, and it's just been better. Like it's just been more entertaining almost because it's like, well, I mean, the physical aspect of it has been more entertaining. There's been more red cards in the Copa America than I think probably the past 4 Euros.
Well, it's funny because I feel like they've also been letting everything go.
Oh yeah,
like
sure.
to a certain point.
Yeah.
It's like they all of a sudden they'll let 10 things go that they should have called, and all of a sudden they come out with a yellow on the very next call. Which, whatever. I remember that final there with the Colombia and Brazil. Ref just let everything go, and like you saw guys like Neymar that like the first 20, 30 minutes rolling around, then all of a sudden realized I'm not getting these calls. Stayed in his feet, and yet he was actually a good player.
Exactly.
So many people don't rate him because he spends more time rolling around on the grass than actually playing. So
exactly, and I know a lot of people that hate Neymar, and it's because of that, because he rolls around and does all the crap that people don't like to watch, and I think that is the reason why I don't like Bellingham, because he does not stop rolling and crying to the referee, because he gets it in Spain. Mm-hmm. He gets it in Spain, but he's not getting it at a higher level where it's going to be like the refs are a little more lenient to like not calling things and stuff like that. And I think that's why I don't like him, because everyone's saying to him, he's like, Jude, you're up here, you're so awesome, you're so better than everyone. But in reality, I think he's getting a reality check in the Euros.
Is that a shot at Justin again there?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's another one. And Justin's one of those guys holding them to it. Such a high standard. I just don't like. He's gonna be a good player. He's gonna be a guy that's gonna be talked about for years. But like as of right now, is not and should not be, or I guess he is, but he should not be the guy that everyone's talking about. He's not England's best player, and I think that needs to be understood by English fans.
Who is England's best player then, in your opinion?
Their best player, like who I think has been their best player this tournament. That's difficult because I don't think anyone has been. I might say in his limited time, Cole Palmer's been the most exciting player on the team, 100%. In his limited time, Palmer I've liked. When he came on in the group stage, Bowen was really good, but he hasn't really gotten much more time.
This is gonna sound really bad, but that first 2 matches that they brought on Gallagher, I thought he made a difference. Yeah. But then after that, he didn't.
Yeah,
so
he kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of was like, maybe I won't mention his name, but
I don't rate Gallagher really.
Him starting.
Oh, neither do I. But when he came on, he made a difference. He was fast. He just kept so much pressure compared to everybody else who I don't know, he was different.
Yeah.
Back to that who's England's best player right now? It just came to me. Mark Gay, easily been the best player on the team, and he's been out 1 game. But if you just strictly watch him play, he has been a brick wall for the team, and so is Jordan Pickford.
I've liked Stones.
Yeah. Pickford's been good. I'd even
Stones.
Yeah,
I
don't think Stones has been that bad.
I'd say I normally don't like Walker. I like him for England, but I don't like him because he's I have my reasons. Yeah. He's always solid. You always know that on the right side, no one's getting by him. He's just so. He hasn't been as good this tournament, but I'd still put him up there for one of the better players.
Yeah. I've really liked Gay, and I think the idea of him going to a quote unquote bigger club is probably like that's probably within his future. Like I think he'll go to a Bayern or a Real or a United or something like that. I don't think he'll stay at Crystal Palace.
It's funny you said that. That's what Bellingham needs to do. He needs to come to the Premier League.
Yeah,
He needs to play within the English system.
I think so too.
He's gotten soft playing abroad.
And
I agree.
yeah, I don't know. He personally, good player. I see a good future, but I think he's held to way too high of a standard. And if you actually watch him play, he's not that good. Like he had one game where he was really good, and he was owning the midfield. I'll give him that. But in the other 5 games, no.
To be fair to him, though, that bicycle kick was sensational.
Oh, that was sensational.
Unreal.
And that's why I think maybe people love him because he has that.
He has those
clutch
moments.
factor.
Yeah.
He has the moments, and that's again why Justin likes him a lot.
Yeah.
But isn't that the reason why people always liked Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing spectacular about him. He's boring to watch, but clutch. He comes in and finds a way to score.
Yeah. Always comes through with that goal.
And there are players that don't do much. Like an example was Gonzalo Higuain. He was really good for a few years. He would hardly touch the ball in games, but then if you give him a half inch of extra space, he's gonna pot one. Same with Luis Suarez. Although Luis Suarez was incredible for a few years, he did a lot more than just score whenever he had the ball. But he would be more involved. But players like that,
Olivier Giroud would be.
Giroud's a perfect example. Yeah. Giroud would maybe only touch the ball 3 times, twice with his head, 2 goals. That's one of my dad's favorite players, and for good reason. He's just that big, strong guy you need up top, and I think those are the best players in the world. I think the guys that don't really the strikers that don't do much, but they can finish when you need them to. And who's another example?
Oh, your dad really liked El Ghazi, right?
No. Well, he liked him when he scored.
Yeah, exactly. Hate that guy. Get him off the field. He scores. I love that guy.
Yeah. What's his name? He used to play for Fulham. Mitrovic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really like him anymore, but he's one of those guys that you cannot give him an inch of space, or else he's gonna make you pay.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite type of player, like that specific striker who doesn't need a lot of space or time, but he can finish. Ollie Watkins is arguably one of those now because he just scored.
Villa fans. Guys,
probably touched the ball twice that much.
If it's up to you guys, you would field the whole England team with just Villa players.
Yeah. Oh, probably.
Imagine how well that would go. They'd be right up there with Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Scotland, England out in the same day.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a good game on Sunday. Main point.
It will be whenever we win.
Yeah.
Now, Justin, you have to have confidence in this. he always goes all negative. Now, I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah. It's not going to work out.
Oh, yeah.
When he's first out there jumping up and down.
We got to
loving it.
We got some of that on Thursday.
Yeah.
What was the game?
Thursday.
Yeah. We got to get it.
Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Yeah, I thought so.
We got to get Justin a Fitbit because he was walking all over the place.
Oh, I know. I loved it.
Another beer.
Adam's looking all over the place. Okay, you put your beer down over there. You wouldn't take your sweater off over there. And then you're standing behind me. What's going on here?
It's all right. It's the nervous jitters. I don't know. Yeah, that's every England fan right there, though. Nervous.
He actually had a plan for not the last match, the match before. He was just going to wear his jacket the whole time because we were in St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And we were down, and he's like, he had given up. He had put on his jacket like he was going to leave, and within 10 seconds, all of a sudden, England scores, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not taking this thing off. And then the very next match, I'm bringing my jacket. I'm wearing it right from the get-go. So.
That's just passion.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And superstition.
Yeah. Superstition.
It's the reason why so many jocks in whatever sport, their shit stinks.
Yeah.
The pads stink. I can't wash it. We won the last one.
Yeah. So. Superstitions they're a real thing, and I've had my fair share. Would you call a routine a superstition? Would you call it that? If you do the same, by definition, routine, doing the same thing during every specific event, that's pretty much what the superstition is. I've had
there's lots of athletes that they recognize, okay, This time I put on my left boot first instead of my right.
Yeah.
And we won. So I'm gonna keep putting my left boot on first.
Exactly.
Dumb things like that.
Or like a big thing is too, like their diets. Like a lot of players eat this exact same thing before a game. Like I watched a video, Declan Rice eats 3 pancakes with mustard and a slab
With
of
mustard.
or not mustard. Sorry.
That's disgusting.
Why did I say mustard? No, I meant
So
not mustard. No,
That's the
not
worst.
mustard. Syrup, maple syrup, and
that makes sense.
Yeah, and a slab of butter. That's all he has before, like 2 hours
slab
before.
of butter.
Yeah, like when they just put butter on top of pancakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he has that like 2-3 hours before every single game, and he said ever since he first tried it, it's the best he's ever felt. So that's all he's eaten before games for the rest of the year.
I used to do the same thing with a Big Mac.
Really?
Every time I play, I'd always go and get a Big Mac first. And I remember there was
After or before?
before.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'd be eating it like as I'm walking onto the pitch, just finishing it off, right? And there'd been a couple of times where I didn't make it there.
Yeah.
And Justin actually would go, "Hey man, you're sucking it up out here. I'm not sure what you're doing. Go get a Big Mac." And I'd leave the pitch and I'd drive to McDonald's, get a Big Mac, and finish it, and then come back and bang 2 goals out. So
Really?
yeah.
He
There's
said
just something about it.
He said it was something about the dietitian he had. It was like it boosts his glucose levels, obviously like blood glucose levels. And
So in other words, he could have just drank the syrup and skipped
yeah.
the butter and the
It
pancakes.
could have done that, but then I think he also said like the carbs of the pancakes as well helps a lot, and like the fats of the butter, and it just kind of basically energizes his body for the whole day.
It was funny.
I've ever felt.
I was actually surprised. It used to be in hockey used to be a thing where you would carb overload,
Yeah.
right? But then like the newer guys, like the generations come in, they don't
Yeah.
do that anymore.
No.
But I just watched that thing. Did you see the thing on Netflix? There's a documentary on the sprinters.
Yeah,
that's
I just briefly saw that.
I haven't seen that
Well,
yet.
if you watch the section where they're eating, they're all eating pasta.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need the pasta for? You've got a 10-second run.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know with runners, like carbs a massive thing for them. Like they're all
The
they're
long
all
distance
just-
ones
yeah.
for sure, but like I'm talking like the 100, 200 meter sprint.
Yeah, I don't,
These
understand,
guys are
I don't
all-
understand that part.
No.
Of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
unless I misunderstood something, maybe these other people weren't. But
Yeah.
I just thought that was weird. Carb overload for a
Yeah.
10-second run.
Yeah.
Oh.
Track and field's something I don't really like. Like, obviously I understand it, but like the hype around it with like, especially people that do track.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you like you're carb overloading for a 10-second race?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could probably go run 10 more and be fine. Like,
Yeah. Maybe just eat 2 or 3 pieces of pasta and then
Yeah.
cut it off.
yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Well, we're at that mark, and I know
Sweet.
you guys have to get going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll have to do this again soon. Maybe in a week or two we can get together and talk some more sports. Maybe
Absolutely.
the Jays will have
Yeah.
pulled it out by then.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully England are champions too.
I mean, hopefully.
Definitely.
You gotta
Well,
say
when
England will be
England-
champions
England
by
are-
then.
When
When
England
England
are
are
champions.
champions. Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
Well, thanks for coming out.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk to everybody next time.